Hey, what's going on, guys? Today I want to ask you your opinion about a situation that I went through recently. Um, I've mentioned before that myself and my two children have PJS, Peace Jagger syndrome. And for the last couple years, randomly, my son's been getting sick, having episodes, and we go to the doctor, they run tests, they find nothing wrong with him, nothing related to PJS, and they just kind of shrug their shoulders and like, we're not sure what's going on. And when we get there, it's usually the emergency room, and once he gets some medication to calm himself down, uh, he's good. It's resolved, the situation's resolved, and we've gone through this cycle for, like I said, the last couple of years. And we thought it was intussusceptions because he would get sick or have really strong pain in his stomach at that area. Sorry. But when we get to the hospital, two different hospitals, in fact, the doctors never really have an answer for us. So we're getting kind of frustrated with that. That's the backstory. So recently, my kids and my wife are all covered with my wife's insurance. She changed jobs, and through a miscalculation of time frames, they were without insurance for a couple months. So we were sweating it very, very much, very much on edge that my son wouldn't get sick in this time frame. So worst case scenario, he gets sick a couple weeks ago. We're out driving around. We just went out to eat. As soon as we left the restaurant, he knew one of these episodes was coming on. And taking him to the hospital, one, in the past, has been kind of pointless because the doctors don't have an answer for us. And two, with no insurance, it was going to be astronomically expensive if we took him to the hospital. And so we started driving towards the hospital. He's in a lot of pain, and it's not constant. He kind of relaxes for a little while, and then it comes and goes. But he gets so worked up and so stressed with the pain, he fell asleep in the car as we're getting to the hospital. And we were literally a couple blocks from the hospital, and I look over, he's asleep. So I don't take him to the hospital. I continue to drive for a couple hours, kind of like when your small child falls asleep in the baby seat or can't fall asleep, you drive around in the car, the motion keeps him asleep. And we drove around for probably almost 2 hours. He woke up, and I asked him, "Are you all right?" And he was still sore, but he was okay. The episode had passed, and so we came home, and we were still kind of on edge. He had some trouble overnight, but in the morning he was back to normal. So one of the episodes that we would have normally taken him to the hospital, was resolved with the car ride, more or less. He got stressed out, he got exhausted, he fell asleep, he physically relaxed, and everything was okay. So my question is, would you have taken your child to the hospital with no insurance, regardless, knowing the history of constantly going to the hospital and getting no answers, no resolution? Or would you have done what I did and kind of hope it works out on its own? I know a lot of people would, without question, take their kids to the hospital. What if this episode doesn't resolve itself? What if it gets worse? What if there's complications? I understand that. But with no insurance, our family doesn't have a lot of money, and we're one catastrophe away from not being able to recover. We're that close. Like I said, we have hospital bills from the last couple of years. I start paying those down, and the year rolls over. I still have the balance from last year, and he goes to the hospital a couple more times, and we have to meet our out of pocket. So it's a never-ending cycle, at least for the last couple of years. So my question is, like I said, would you have done what I did and hope it resolves itself, or would you take your kids to the hospital? Since I knew it wasn't PJS related, and with relaxation my son gets better, we thought it was the medication at the hospital, the emergency room. They give him some pain medicine and he resolves on his own. But this time there was no medication, but it still resolved on its own. So I felt kind of bad because I didn't take him to the hospital, but luckily it resolved on its own, and we don't have that hospital bill with no insurance. So it's kind of a stressful episode. We have insurance now, it's kicked in and we're covered, but if this happens again, what should I do? Should I go to the hospital and get back into that cycle? Well, we ran the test, we don't know what's going on. Check with your primary, this and that. So it's a tough question. I don't know what the answer is. So I think that's where I'll leave it today. It's a judgment call. I know, like, a lot of people would take their kids to the hospital, definitely. I understand that. I have in the past. But with the circumstances that I had at hand, I did what I thought was best. And so let me know what your opinion is. If you've gone through something like that, if you have insurance issues and it's just getting overwhelming with hospital stays and things like that. And I'll leave it there. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. I'll see you guys again soon. Later.